Hello, this is Greg Witt with Alpenwild. Here we are in the freezing rain to talk about weather in the Alps. An umbrella may work in the city, but it's completely useless on the Haute route. Along the way on the Haute route, you'll pass 10 of the 12 highest peaks in the Alps. Because mountain weather requires some special planning and preparation, let's take some time right now to talk about weather and rain gear on the Haute route. The Alps have a very different summer storm pattern from what we see, for example, in the Rockies or the Appalachian Mountains. In the Alps, they experience a much wider range of seasonal conditions and conditions from day to day compared to what you'd see in the U.S. And since you're often gaining 3,000 to 5,000 vertical feet per day, you're going to see a lot of variation in temperature and weather based on elevation. Weather in the Alps is determined by the air masses and where they're coming from. Air from the north is cold, and even in summer you can get some serious snow. Air from the east typically brings warm, dry winds and great hiking weather in the Alps. From the west, it's generally mild, but often includes wet cyclonic storms from the Atlantic. Air from the south is warm Mediterranean air, and it's rarely wet. Watching the weather is a daily adventure in the Alps, and you'll want to check the weather forecast daily. I find the Meteo Suisse forecast to be surprisingly accurate. As you cross each pass, you're typically above 2,500 meters, or between 8,000 and 9,000 vertical feet in elevation. More often than not, you'll want to throw on a jacket or a fleece at these elevations, especially if you're stopping to eat lunch or enjoy the views. It's not uncommon to be in the clouds at these elevations, and you may encounter snow flurries or freezing rain, even in July or August. But it's also possible to enjoy comfortable short-sleeve weather at 9,000 vertical feet. Just depends on the weather. Now let's talk about rain. In any given week on the Haute route, you should expect to have at least one day of rain. In all my years on the Haute route, I can only recall a few rare weeks where we had 2 or 3 days of rain. However, just as unusual is the occasional summer week with no rain at all. So, given that infrequency, how do you plan on handling it? You may just choose to take a rain day and hunker down in a Hutter village, nothing wrong with that, but scheduling and arranging accommodations along the Haute route is particularly committing, and having to cancel reservations and readjust your entire itinerary is difficult. So sometimes, just hiking in the rain is the course of least resistance. That's where your choice of rain gear is put to the test. Now I realize I'm treading on dangerous ground when I make some recommendations on rain gear because it's a very personal choice. I've actually seen some hikers on the Haute route just wearing a garbage bag as a rain poncho or using a cheap plastic poncho. It's not much of a fashion statement, but they don't seem to mind. I've also seen people hiking in a full slicker suit or a heavy rain jacket. That seems like overkill, and I hope they're not carrying that with them on the entire length of the Haute route. On most days, I wear a soft shell jacket like the North Face Apex, and I carry it with me all the time on the Haute route. It's comfortable and breathable, but it's not waterproof, and it's only good for a few minutes of light rain. Then it becomes a sponge, a very cold, uncomfortable sponge. What I recommend is carrying a lightweight set of packable rain gear. I recommend 3 specific products. Each is a lightweight, about 12 ounces per piece, and they're all waterproof, breathable, and they have a pit-sit ventilation. And all 3 are available in a jacket and a pant for both men and women. These products are the North Face Venture, Sierra Designs Hurricane, and the Marmot Precip. They're all going to run between $40 and $100 per piece, with Sierra Designs at the value end and Marmot on the more expensive side. You'll find them online and at most outdoor retailers. I store them in the bottom of my pack, along with my pack cover. They're about the size of my fist, and so they're not in the way, but they're also easy to pull out at a moment's notice if it starts to rain. One last thing. You may want to bring a pair of lightweight gaiters. These are always popular with British hill walkers, but not so common in the States or even in the Alps. But they do help keep your shoes and socks dry. It's not an essential piece of gear, but it's an option worth considering. As always, if I can be of any help in planning your Haute route adventure, please let me know. I'd love to have you join us in the Alps, either on one of our guided trips or on a self-guided basis. This is Greg Witt with Alpenwild. See you on the trail.